Welcome and hello there to another of our Rebellion the Rim campaign games. This is Act 2, Battle 2, and in the background you can already see the deployment of the obstacles. This time I attacked a rebel base because I wanted some upgrades, and I thought, well, you're gonna have understrength bonus, so you're gonna get more upgrades even if you lose. And so my fleet is here, and my fleet has an allies token, and the enemy fleet is here, and the enemy fleet has an ally token as well, and the enemy fleet has the base defense fighter wing, so they gain 40 more squadrons, which is why you're gonna see a ridiculous amount of squadrons in this game. I'll go through the list real quick. So my list has the Master Coordinator 2 and the Ambush Gunner 2, and my flagship is still the Architects with turbo lasers and NIDA. I've got my isnt Raider and a Gazanti with reserve hangar decks. For squadrons, I've got Merrick and Jendon, 2 TIE Interceptors, Hull Runner and Mauler Mythal, and as allies I took another TIE Interceptor and a Fire Spray because of our modified rules. My enemy has a Adar Talon Yavaris with fighter coordination team, an MC-30 with assault proton torpedoes as his flagship, and a Comsnet, not Comsnet, a Flight Commander GR-75. As for squadrons, he has Wedge Antilles, Dodge Vander, Lando Calrissian, a Headhunter, and a Skirk Bomber, I think. As allies, he recruited a what's it called, a YT 2400 and a YT 1300. So he's got a bit of rogue in there and another escort. And from the fighter wing base defense, he gained a Headhunter and 3 A-wings. So in total, he's somewhere around 150 points of squadrons. I'm somewhere around 120 points of squadrons. He's somewhere around roughly 320 points, I believe, and I'm somewhere around 290 to 300, something around there. Yes, so what I did here is I just deployed all of my squadrons off of the Gazanti, then I put the Raider down and the Architects down. I don't have low fuel, I have low supplies now, which I don't really care about, and I can deploy my stuff at the speeds I want. So the Architects is going speed 2, the Raider is going speed 3, and the Gazanti is also going speed 2. The opponent has deployed most of his squadrons behind the station from his Gazanti, which is going speed 2, and then the Yavaris and the MC-30 are also going speed 2, and he's put all his aces over there. So at this point I just think, oh well, let's not rush it too hard and see where all the squadrons go, because if with this game, if I lose the squadron war, I will lose all of my ships, because he doesn't have that much dedicated bombers, but he still has enough dedicated bombers and in total enough squadrons that he will easily kill my small ships with his squadrons. But then I think, well, I can't just let him swim away from me, so I'll go and speed up here with the Architects, so that gets into a firing position, someone around the third round, which was my rough estimate. And he still is going like sideways to me, not really committing to anything. So my Raider, because it has to get into black dice range, it goes even faster, because the ships are kind of swimming away from me, and yeah, I want to get it in shooting range at some point. I was also not that worried about his squadrons, because I think with Lando and Wedge he could have attacked my Raider here, but because I have isnt Versio, I don't really care about that much. So now we've got our squadron finagling here. I was shuffling Merrick and Jendon a bit to the left, so I could, if it would present itself, I could go and bomb the MC-30, for example. And then the rest of my squadrons I just put ahead in the pure direction of enemies, and somewhere where it could still be activated from my Gazanti because the Gazanti with a squadron command and a squadron token, because of my commander ability, can actually activate 4 squadrons. So I was planning on throwing Hall Runner, Mauler Mythal, and 2 TIE Interceptors into the fight here. So I just put my squadrons up front where they can kind of go everywhere. And I saw his squadrons kind of shuffling more to the left, but he still had 2 squadrons which were already activated on the station. Here comes in the fire spray. It was a bit broken until I fixed it, because I renamed it and then it didn't work as intended anymore. But yeah. So what I'm worried about here is I don't want to engage squadrons that are in range of the Yavaris, because then the reactivation will just absolutely annihilate me, which was why I already saw the 2 squadrons which are on the right here as a target. And since he got all his other squadrons kind of out of range to support those, that was looking really good for me. I think what the rebel player should have done here is just keep the squadrons where he can activate them from Yavaris, but where they can also just fly in and shoot my ships if I don't engage them. So this is round 2. At the beginning, I do exactly what I just said I would do. I brought my squadrons over. First was Hull Runner, then I brought a TIE Interceptor, which was obstructed, but because of Hull Runner I still had 4 blue dice, which is quite nice. Then I brought a second Interceptor. No, I brought Mauler Mythal first, okay. Sorry, so Mauler shot. And then we've got another one here. And that is the 2 squadrons cleared out. I think Hull Runner had to scatter, and one of the Interceptors took 1 health damage. And that was what I got, roughly 20 points of squadrons for free there. And I was also on the station, which is rather nice. Here comes the enemy's counter activation. He uses flight commanders to do his maneuver on the transport first. Yeah, that doesn't really matter that he did that first. But yeah, then he I think he used one of his A-wings. Yeah, one of the A-wings comes in and shoots at my TIE Interceptor, hoping to kill it. But luckily, it only rolled 2 damage. My counter rolls were really bad this game. So what his decision making was here, if he would engage me, he thought I would just take damage and then re-heal it on the station, and that was a thing I could surely have done. But because of that, he just chose to not engage me at all. And what I did here was I shot my 2 already engaged squadrons at the A-wing, trying to kill it, but because my squadron rolls weren't particularly good, I didn't manage to, and then my Architects strolled on forward. Seeing this, my enemy used one of his ships. Let's see which one, I can't remember precisely, but I think it was, yeah, Yavaris, and he yeeted one of his A-wings into Merrick Jendon, trying to put some damage onto Jendon, on Merrick, sorry, Merrick of course. So this is 2 damage on 1 damage after bracing though, and then he took the Skug and bombed my Architects, which I didn't like, but I think it was rather inconsequential in the end. Yeah, for 2 damage, a shield expert would be really good on that one. But Captain Nida is really good as well. I'm planning on getting turbo laser reroll circuits in the future, so I can make more use of Captain Nida, because double evade is really nice for turbo laser reroll circuits. So here we've got him planning the next 2 rounds. Then looking at where his ship could go after the next round. No, in the next round. Because he didn't want to ram his transport, which is understandable. Which is what is a really nice thing is that I had the squadron tokens on all of my ships because of the commander ability, so I got to activate 2 squadrons for free in this first round of engagements. And then because my raider and my architects are veterans, I also get free tokens from the veteran token for 2 rounds. But first here we've got Merrick being activated from the raider, one-shotting the thing. And then I took Colonel Jonan and didn't even use his ability, I just shot at the A-Wing on 1 health. So he now is a veteran candidate. Then I wanted my raider to like go in there, but I thought if I do this, I'd probably take a lot of damage and just die. So I opted for a bit more of a defensive role where I could kind of flag against fighters that would come and engage my fighters on the station. Which is why I played around with the course here a bit, but I ended up doing this at speed 4 still. This is really fast, considering I'm pretty close to the edge. So I had to navigate the next 2 rounds to not go off of the edge. But yeah, so my enemy I think didn't use a squadron here, did he? No, he didn't. And I really like what he did here with the MC30, trying to shield the Nebulon. That just encouraged my raider going in there and just yeeting itself. But it also boxed in his ships to a point where the places he could go were really limited. So this is an obstructed shot at my architects from the Skirk again. And then since all my squadrons have already activated, he shuffles around his squadrons a bit more. Here again, I think if he just had them all in a big ball where they could kind of support each other, that would have been a good idea. But he had to go a bit more on the offensive with his squadrons. Because at this point I had already killed 40 points of squadrons and I hadn't lost a single one. Because he let me engage them in really small bundles, because we've got 3 dead A-Wings and a dead headhunter already. And he opted to go on the defensive with his squadrons again. Which again is what I would not have done. But I can understand that you want to defend your ships with your squadrons. But yeah, especially this wedge play here was a bit too defensive in my opinion. And the dodge as well, considering he's not that fast of a squadron. So beginning of round 2, I activate my raider and I do a veteran token squadron command, and I bring in Howrunner and Mauler Mythal, and they both take out some squadrons. So I think I ended up taking out the headhunter and the Skirk bomber. And then I decided to go on a defensive course with the raider to not lose it, because I feared that if I go into all of the ships, I would just die. So I went there, not overlapping any of the squadrons and staying obstructed for most of the shots. I feel like that was a good play there. Now we've got Yveris coming in, and Yveris used his first squadron command to bring in Dutch, shooting my squadrons, which was understandable. The problem for me is like with veterancy and the fighter group leader, he has just got too many rerolls on those squadrons. That is really disgusting. So a double shot from the YT-2400 later, and one shot from Dutch, both I think Howrunner's dead and Waller Mythos on 1 health, which was really sad. I had hoped they would live longer there, but he rolled good accuracies, he had good rerolls that kind of killed my squadrons. Yeah, so here he fighter coordination teamed one of his whitey, it's a 1300 I believe, and then he 8 artillered Dutch. Wasn't precisely the right timing, but we decided to just let it fly, and I don't think it changed the outcome of the battle horrendously. So after this I did my Gazanti with another squadron command, and I saw an opening on the Yaveris side, I think. Is this where I go for the Yaveris? So one thing why I wanted to put something up front there was I needed Jendon to move up to be in relay range for the 2 TIE interceptors on the station. So first I brought Merrick in there, and he shot the Yaveris into its side, because he guaranteed 2 damage, so even if he braced it, it would be the shield gone. And then the Merrick, the Jendon reactivation would guarantee me that he would take a crit, which was quite nice. The crit itself wasn't that good though. I would have liked structural damage or something like that, but unfortunately I didn't. And this was kind of like yeeting Merrick into there was a bit bad. I think in the long run it was a good play, but at that moment I felt like I had just suicided Merrick here really hard. So yeah, kind of sad me noises, because Wedge just came in, and I think he one-shotted. Yeah, he one-shotted Merrick with his veterancy reroll and the fighter coordination. The fighter group leader skill. That is just stupid amounts of rerolls. Yeah, dead Merrick. So then at that point, brought in Lando to kind of kill my last squadron here. And then I activated my Architans. Here I had messed up a bit, so we agreed on me being able to move Jendon back a bit, because he had forgotten about Ader Talon earlier and I let him do that, so we were kind of even at that point. And then I used my veterancy in conjunction to get a squadron token, and then shoot the Wedge with my remaining 2 TIE interceptors. And then I shot my side into the side of the Yaveris, and that was a good shot because I gave him another crit. And this time he took a structural damage, which I quite liked. And then I decided to not go into a position where he could attack me really hard. So I just slowed down to speed 2 with the navigation dial and just rammed my own Gazanti. And because of my ambush gunner, I could just sit there and not be obstructed, which was really, really good. He then brought the rest of his squadrons in, and that kind of killed my rest off. So Dutch just one-shot a TIE interceptor here. I used my reserve hangar decks on the Gazanti. Reserve hangar decks are a really good card. I'll have that on the radar after this battle as well. And then the YT-2400 came in and tried to kill the other interceptor. Luckily he didn't. And then he tried to flank the interceptor, but luckily he didn't either. And then here we've got like a rather crucial point in the game, because he's trying to get his MC-30 in a position where it can kill my raider, but he's also trying to not ram his Yaveris for it to not die. And since I'm first player, I will activate my Architans first next round, which will take another squadron command, another squadron token from the veterancy, and then it will yeet 2 more squadrons, which I think my opponent didn't factor in that much in his actual movement. So he moved there, and then I could replace the YT1300, so I put it on the side where I didn't have to care about it. And then I did exactly that. So I first brought in another TIE interceptor to shoot at wedge. And then luckily I killed that guy. And then here we had an opening where I could yeet in the fire spray to guarantee the kill on the Everus, which was really good. So that gave it another crit, bringing it up to a damage total of 4. And then I shot my side into the side of Everus, and I luckily rolled exactly the amount to kill it. I mean, it was just on 1 health at that point. And then I just decided to ram the Gazanti again, so I didn't have to go near the MC30. And at this point he did something I didn't really understand, because he decided to go with the transport first. I thought he would just go with the MC30 and try and kill my raider, but for some reason he didn't. Yeah, so what he did here was, I think Dodge killed the 2 health TIE interceptor, because it had already activated. And my counter rolls were as bad as always, and he brought in his YT2400 and killed my remaining TIE interceptor, and my counter rolls were bad again. And then this allowed me to get my raider out of the danger zone. Ha 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 ha. Danger zone. Okay, never mind. I think I mixed up a Archer reference here with the song Stayin' Alive, which is kind of dumb in itself, but okay. So yeah, I did the veterancy thing where I took a squadron token again, and then I tried to kill the YT2400 by double shotting my TIE interceptor from the Gendon double activation. And then since I'm ambush gunner 2, I shot my side into the front of the thing here. I used my nav command to go down to speed 2, and that kept me on the board. Raiders are really good at speed 2, I really like that. So yeah, this is what I ended up doing. And yeah. Now I was only in the side arc. He used his MC30, he had a squadron command, I believe. No, a repair, I'm sorry, a repair. So I just regained 1 shield in front. And then he shot my raider, rolling not that good, so I could just brace and take it all on the shields. And then he tried to shoot my Gazanti into the front, but luckily no accuracy, so I could just scatter that. And yeah, at this point the squadron war was pretty much over. I had 40 points less in squadrons, and I still managed to come out at an even rate with the squadrons, which was rather nice, and I had killed the Everus already. So at this point I was kind of set in for a win here. I don't want to spoiler, but we'll see. It will be very close in the end. Anyway, he moved in his 2 rogues at the end, so his YT2400 luckily missed all of his shots on the TIE interceptor, but Lando did not. So I think the TIE interceptor died here. Let's see. Yeah, that was it, a TIE interceptor at that point. And my counter rolls were fucking bad. Sorry for the bad thing here. Okay, so then next round was round 5. I activated my Gazanti first that had a navigate command, and I used the squadron token from last round to use my fire spray and Gendon to kill the YT2400. And then I just shot a bit against the transport. It didn't really matter in the end. And then my Gozanti was trying to make its trying to run for it. Oof. Here comes the MC30 shooting my my Raider. Luckily not doing much damage because of isnt Versio. And yeah, just being able to evade and brace at close range makes that guy pretty damn durable. As well as the MC30 didn't have any dice fixing, which was kind of bad as well. So I then activated that one, did a repair command to get some shields back. Well, I only transferred one shield because here the low supplies effect actually came in. So I hope to not die to squadrons here. He did his transport, and then he kind of messed up the order in which the squadrons should go up a bit, because he moved Lando first, but he wanted to shoot my Raider with Lando. So I agreed on letting him kind of do his dodge before doing the Lando, even though he had already moved that. So dodge came in and shot my fire spray, killing it with veterancy, and then Lando bombed my poor little Raider. And then I just opted to burn one evade to get rid of one damage, and then brace the double damage into down to 1, because you can't evade the Lando dice, sadly. And he moved with his transport, trying to stay at medium range to his dodge, so he could activate it in the last round. But I believe he did not manage to do that. We'll see it in a second. Yeah, he did not. And then my Architects activated. It had a navigate, and I had queued up a concentrate fire for the last round then. And I rolled rather bad against the Gozanti, so he didn't have to burn his scatter here. He just evaded my crit and just took 1 damage. But then I rolled rather well against the what's it called? Oh god, the MC30. And then I decided to go for a risky play here, because I figured it only had 3 hull left and 4 shields, and I thought the average damage would kill it here at close range. So I flew into a position where I had a double arc at close range against the MC30, and because I was first player, I then activated my my Architects first. I had a concentrate fire, but here really bad dice kicked in, so this was my side shot for 2 damage, and then my front shot was poor as well. I then opted to reroll one with turbo lasers as well, and I did exactly 1 to few damage, which was really frustrating. And then I couldn't even ram it to death, which was the reason it wasn't possible to ram at any given maneuver with that ship. And then he just deleted my flagship here at close range against an MC30. I was really sad at that point, because it was just the underperforming dice at that point that killed my flagship. But at the end, I don't think anything died here anymore, because my Raider has isnt and the Gozanti got out of range of his Lando, and the actual battle ended up being a 20-point win for the Empire. That was really close, but it was very interesting. I really liked the game. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. I defeated this base defense here, and I hope you guys are still interested in Rebellion in the Rim. If you're interested in something else, please do type it in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one.